Hey everybody! Welcome to another episode of Mortgage Boss Talk Tuesday on a Wednesday because my hair wasn't doing the thing. So I have some really hot topics to talk about today. Not a whole lot of them. We're gonna get straight to the what's the tea in mortgage because it's piping hot. If you are in mortgage lending, if you are a realtor, if you are a first-time home buyer, if you are any-time home buyer, if you are a home seller, if you are thinking about selling a house, this is for you. And it's not going to be any of that, oh, let's look at these reports. None of that. Sad note, the rates are up. We already know that, so we're not even going to talk about what the Fed is doing. He's already ruining my life. Y'all know how I feel about that. But today, honey, I have somebody to talk to y'all about what is going on the realtor side of this housing real estate industry. Now, I'm on the mortgage side, so I do all of the math and everything like that. So nobody wants my job. Everybody wants to be a realtor. And so I have one of my good girlfriends, Lindsee Bowens. She is a realtor here in Charlotte for Keller Williams, and I'm going to allow her to introduce herself. But we talk a lot about what's going on. What are you seeing? Did you read such and such article? Oh, I didn't hear that. We talk about the more educated professional side of being a real estate professional. Of course, it's cute to have, your closing signs and your Instagram and you sold a house and your red bottoms, but behind the scenes, it's very important. If you all are watching and you are currently like in that 0 to 3 year range, you may have seen me have a video where I say it is very important to join industry organizations. It is very important to read different periodicals and really immerse yourself in the industry, okay? Lindsee agrees with me. She the one that brought me this tea, and now I'm bringing it to you. Baby, I wish I had some wine, some tea. I ain't got nothing. I got a Red Bull. That was from earlier today. But anyway, nonetheless, for those of you all that are here joining me, I want to say thank you so much. You all make sure as you coming in, you are hitting the like button. Please. I really need the engagement, y'all. Like, I'm really making a push for this monetization. I'm so close yet so far. I've been doing the YouTube thing for almost a year. I think maybe like 10 and a half, 11 months now. And so in case you don't know, you got to have 4,000 watch hours. And when you come up on a year, you start to lose a few every day. So you're going to see me more often. So please, if you are somebody that I just described, if you are a realtor, if you are a loan officer specifically in that 0 to first 3 year range, if you are someone that's interested in purchasing a home, I want to talk to you. Please subscribe to my channel. And comment. I love talking. I talk all the time. If you don't follow me on all the other platforms, I'm on Instagram as well. And that's where you get all of me. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Side note, if y'all see that my eye is a little red, it is a little irritated. I think by my contacts. I don't know, but I don't like it. But this tea was too good. It was too good. I was like, I gotta still go on the air. I gotta tell the people. So we practicing my journalism degree today. So without further ado, Lindsee, thank you so much for joining me at a moment's notice. Because this was something that, like I said, you and I have spoken about behind the scenes, but I hadn't gone on the record to talk about it at all to anybody. So I was waiting, like I wanted to talk about it, but I was like, I don't really have nothing to anchor it to. I don't really, so I figured I'd wait until October, and I was like, I'm gonna talk about it then. But as soon as I saw what I saw this morning, I said, oh my God, I gotta know what you think about. So Lindsee, tell everyone who you are, where you work, what you do, all of the things.
Okay, so my name is Lindsee Bowens. I am a Charlotte native. So born and raised in Charlotte. I went off to college and went to NC State, and I was in Raleigh for about 10 years. And I got my real estate license actually while I was living in Raleigh before moving back to Charlotte. So I believe I was about 26 when I got my real estate license. This was back in 2017. So before it was the trend on social media,
Yeah.
yeah. So when I got in real estate, it was not young and it was not Black, and I got the shade from people who didn't look like me, and then I got the shade from older agents who did look like me. So for me, like, it was a hard path in real estate. Like, I had to know what I was talking about because nobody was trying to help me at all. So I founded the LBD group, which is my team. I founded that last year, and we just recently opened or started service in the Raleigh-Durham area. So I do Raleigh-Durham and I do Charlotte.
Lovely. That is amazing. Yeah, you want to share the other side of your life before?
Oh yeah. So
okay.
we can go there. So prior to, and actually I was a part-time agent, so I don't have excuses for people that are like, oh, I'm part-time, I can't do all that. I was a part-time agent and I was working as a mortgage processor full-time, and I sold 15 units, which equated to almost 4 million in sales. So I did 15 families while doing real estate, dual career, part-time, or whatever you want to call it. But I have a background in financial investing. So I think that's why we connect, is because, most of our conversations, I understand mortgages probably a little bit more than someone who's just getting started. I do ask a lot of financial questions of my buyers up front, but that's not today's conversation.
Thank you.
I'm kind of scared. I'm excited, but I'm kind of scared to talk about today. I think it's going to inspire some agents. It's going to be fearful for buyers. Some agents are going to either have to do the work or get out. Buyers, well, we'll talk about the solutions for buyers or what we think may happen, but
okay. Yeah, I mean, now, just full disclosure now, so my audience is pretty split. So half of my audience that subscribes, they're going to be home buyers, and then the other half, which tend to be a little bit more engaged, are, on the real estate side. So the conversation should hopefully be pretty interesting. So, well, here we go. So today,
these are the opinions of my own. This is not associated with my brokerage. I'm just letting you know that now.
The educated opinions, though, that's what's important. So let me check the chat real quick. So loan officer Kishan says hello. Let's see, Abel in the ATL, how you doing? Loan officer Kishan says hello. Well, welcome, Lindsay. And then, how can we share? Oh, chat, don't get me started. Oh, the link. If you go on the YouTube page, there should be like a share, and then you can either just take the link and copy and paste it to wherever you want it to go, or what have you, or like just forward it to whoever's cell phone in a text message. But thank you for asking. So she said that it was amazing, the number of homes that you were able to sell while you were still having a full-time job, which, I mean, that year was crazy. That was like 2021, right? Somewhere in there. Yeah. Okay. And then Terrell Key. Hey, Terrell. He is in St. Louis. He is an assistant principal. So hi, Terrell. Let's see. Hey, Paul does loans. Now, this is my buddy right here. He shows up almost every time I am on. Paul says this is really going to hurt seasoned agents who will lose bids to quote unquote part-time realtors who aren't aware of the changes and don't disclose at initial consult. Well, we're definitely going to talk about that for sure. So let's talk a little bit about, what am I talking about? What's the background? Let's get into it. Okay.
Okay. Because I like
to get into it. So, oh yeah, we gotta go back. So, A couple months ago, Lindsay and I were on the phone, I think somewhere around April. Lindsay on the phone with me. Girl, girl. And she goes into the store to tell me, did you hear about this lawsuit? No, what lawsuit? I mean, realtors get sued all the time. Ain't nothing new. What do you mean? Oh, no. And so she kind of gives me what was happening, kind of the lay of the land. Effectively, sellers had filed a lawsuit against NAR. NAR is the National Association of Realtors, which is the industry trade organization that represents and lobbies for the interests of realtors as an industry. And she says, well, this is big. It's like billions of dollars. Billions of dollars. Well, they got it. It ain't no big deal. They got it. No. She tells me that the sellers were upset because they were paying out all these commissions to the buyer's agents. And they was like, but I don't know them like that. What I'm paying them for? Is that about right? That sum it up? Okay. I mean, Okay, so tell me from the realtor, because look, what you said and what I've heard might be a little, So tell us what happened. What's the background? What happened? Who started it? And then what is the current status?
So there are actually a few different lawsuits going on right now. So I think it's 3 or 1 just got settled, which is what prompted us to do this tonight. But I think there were 3. The Department of Justice has actually launched a whole investigation, and I think it's a class action lawsuit at this point, where sellers were paying buyer agent commissions and they don't feel like they should have, or it wasn't represented to them in that way that they'd be paying buyer agent commissions, that they would be paying seller agent commissions, but not also the buyer agent commissions. And so this spiraled into what it is today, where it did go to the courts, and the courts was like, okay, like, we agree. And so what prompted us to do this on a Wednesday, so you didn't skip this week, was because one of the second largest MLS just settled. And this is an MLS who covers Washington, D.C., Maryland, Virginia, parts of Jersey, Pennsylvania, I believe parts of New York, as well as West Virginia. So this is not just a local small MLS that covers just one portion of a state. This covers a few different states, and they just settled a lawsuit that essentially says, hey, so let me go back. Realtor Code of Ethics in Canopy, that's the MLS that I'm in. It says that there has to be some commission. It doesn't say how much commission there has to be. It just says it has to be something. It could be $1. There are some builders in this area that only do $1,500. Some people do 2%. Some people do 2.5, 2.25, whatever it is. It just says it's something. I've seen in my local MLS, this is very rare, I've seen it to be even $1. It just says something has to be given to the buyer's agent. So what we're seeing now, this particular settlement with Bright MLS, which is the MLS that we're talking about that settled, they said that you don't have to do anything.
And so, I have that right here. I'm going to share so we can kind of get a little bit of context for people that aren't necessarily familiar with the type of verbiage. Lindsay, do you mind kind of telling everybody, whenever somebody is wanting to purchase a home and they reach out and they say, hey, I want to buy a house. How much do you charge me? What is the response? What is considered to be normal in terms of what you all charge for a buyer?
Okay, so this is where it kind of gets a little gray and a little hairy, because there is nothing that is standard. There is no standardized commission. Your office or the firm that you're associated with may have an office policy that says, hey, this is how much we charge off of. So let's say based on your commission, your office is going to base that off of 2% or 2.5%. Now, if you go low, that's on you, but the office is still going to base your fee or their split off of the 2 or 2.5%. So there is nothing saying, hey, you have to do this. Your office may have a policy. Right now, what I'm seeing common in Canopy or the Charlotte area is 2.5%. What I'm seeing a lot of or frequently in the Raleigh market is 2.4% for buyer agent commission. And the MLS has had to do clear cooperation. So if it hasn't been already updated, I think there was a deadline for beginning of next year. You should start to see these things trickle over to Zillow, so you know exactly how much buyer agent commission is going to be given, because we do have to list that on our side, but now it's supposed to be publicly available.
Publicly. Okay. Well, let me see. Hold on. I was going to bring up that one first, but let me just take a step back. Here was the kind of the beginning of it, right? Just again, for context, so we understand. So a pivotal lawsuit pitting home sellers against the National Association of Realtors and some of the country's top brokerages is moving forward as a class action case, as she mentioned. A federal judge ruled in favor and said that the brokerages, which are Remax, Anywhere, and Keller Williams, they're accusing him of conspiring to inflate commission rates. Now, that's kind of some harsh language in my opinion, but I don't know. Past home sellers, which I think this covers from 2015 to 2020. So if you are watching this, and this was from you sold your house in any of these states down here from 2015 to 2020, we could be talking to you, talking about you. You very well might get $1.72 check in the mail any day now. So past home sellers are seeking more than $13 billion in damages. The judge's ruling also created a separate class of current and future home sellers attempting to bar alleged antitrust violations. So the lawsuit can represent whoever paid a commission between March of 2015 and December of 2020. So this is right at the time that I started working at SunTrust as a loan officer. So I think that's interesting. This has been going on pretty much the entire time I have been a loan officer. But here are the states. So this may impact you directly, but it's going to impact everyone indirectly, which is why I think it's so important to discuss this. So it says Texas, which is a gigantic state, does lots of real estate. You got, Dallas, Houston, Austin, San Antonio. Maryland, Maryland, come on. Maryland has the richest county of African American, the richest. The richest African Americans in Montgomery County or PG County?
PG County.
North Carolina, which is where we reside in Charlotte. And then you have Raleigh, which is another somewhat large city, but one of the larger cities in North Carolina. Ohio, Colorado, Michigan, Florida, Nevada, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Pennsylvania, which we're going to talk about Pennsylvania in just a second. Arizona, Utah, Virginia, and Washington, D.C. Now, this is who they're talking about. They're upset. The sellers feel like they was gypped. They feel like they were misled. They paid out 6%, which is, like I said, somewhat industry standard, even though it isn't, I guess, a formal rule, right? It's just kind of like some kind of way they came up with this number and everybody just said, oh, okay, I like it. And so the seller's saying, hey, this isn't right. I didn't pay the other person. I paid you. So if I hire Lindsay to sell my house and she says, okay, well, I charge you 6%. And let's be very clear, because a lot of us in this Netflix age watch a lot of the nice, sexy real estate shows with the girls and the heels and the cars, and the mansions, right? This people that's listing those houses probably charge maybe 8-10%. Like it can get up, right? So
again, there's no standard.
Yeah, it's no standard. It's based on whatever your going rate is. How popping are you? And
I've seen people do 8%.
Yeah, I know. I've seen for a fact, I've seen 7%. And so people charge, the listing agent charges whatever. So to a layman, if she was selling my house and I didn't know any of this, I'm like, okay, cool, you charge 6%. So let's talk about 6%, just for context, to make sure we all on the same page. Average where we at in North Carolina? Average purchase price, what was 420-ish?
425.
Okay, let's call it 425. Lindsay gonna sell my house. Nope, let's call it $500,000, just for kicks and giggles. Feel like I got a nice house. So so she sells the house, $500,000, right? And we've talked about this, Lindsay. We talk about big numbers over here. We're not living in fairy tale land. The people that subscribe to me, we are all in this together. We understand that it's up and it's stuck, right? 6%, $30,000. Lindsay sells my one house and she's gonna get $30,000?
No. And that's where the first mistake is made, because you count my coins and those are not all my coins.
Okay.
So in North Carolina, we are an attorney state. So the attorney is going to make my commission check out to my office, not to me as the agent, but to the office that I'm with. There are different type of brokerages. So you have some brokerages that will pay, or that you will pay a split, which they get a percentage until you meet a certain dollar amount. And then you have some where you do just a flat rate.
Okay. But you don't get to keep the $30,000? Like, you mean to tell me you don't just sell 3 houses and then you $100,000 there?
That's not how it works.
Okay. Okay.
So,
but apparently that's what sellers were thinking, right? They thought you got all of it, right?
My buyers also think that, and that's not how it works. So, just for simple math, let's just say that it is, I would say most of the larger brokerages now have gone to like an 80-20 split, meaning that I would keep 80, the office would get 20 until they reach a certain dollar amount.
Okay.
So 20% of the check off gate does not come to me.
Okay. So
no, I was gonna say, now if I got it from, let's say I have an agent friend, because I do this a lot. I have an agent friend in Raleigh that has somebody moving to Charlotte and they refer me. They also want a piece of that too. So typically that can be anywhere between 20 and 30%. Let's call it 25. So now that is 20, and then they get the 25 off the rip. So they come number one, 25% off the rip. And then
wow, this money is dwindling pretty fast.
Yeah, girl. So 25% automatically goes to them because they referred me the person. And this has to be another licensed agent. And then from that amount, I still only get 80%. The other 20 still goes to my office.
Okay. So those are two different scenarios. There's one where you had the house, you're on your own, and then the other one is a referral and you're paying out a referral fee.
Mm-hmm. So, but either way, the office that I'm with, they get a percentage.
So at what point do we pay the buyer's agent? When do you write the check to them, or however they do it? How do they get their money?
So we kind of have to go into the history of how this even started, right? I know this is the part that you was like, I was going a little bit too deep, but in order for people to understand how we get paid, they have to understand how it even came about.
Okay.
So what was the date? Hold on. Because I got all my facts. I'm like, you got to have everything pulled up. So let's call it somewhere in the early 1900s. There was only listing agents. There was no such thing as a buyer's agent. Like, if you wanted a house, you had to go to the listing agent, work with the listing agent. But the listing agent only represented the seller. They would help you draw up the contract. But as far as the interest and telling you how to maneuver and how to negotiate, they only provided that service to the sellers. So they had to protect their sellers' best interest, but I'll help you. This also was at a time, of course, there was no internet. So everything was like in these huge books, and essentially you were working out of a Rolodex, right? So if I didn't have anybody in my Rolodex to buy this particular house that I had for sale, then I would need to connect with other real estate agents. But essentially, buyer's agent came out of hey, it was a marketing thing. So, hey, I have this house. If you bring your buyer, I'll give you some money. I'll give you a portion of my commission. I'll share it with you. So it was a marketing thing. It was never, it did not originate like this. It also came about because buyers didn't feel like the person that they were working with had their best interests. So if I'm a listing agent, my fiduciary duty, because that's essentially what we're signing up for.
What's
My
fiduciary, man?
Oh Lord, Joy, you gonna maybe go to law school today?
Come on.
So all of my interests, all of my loyalty, all of my I don't want to call it secrecy, but whatever, everything confidentiality is wrapped up with whoever I'm representing. So if it is the listing and I'm the listing agent, I may know that my sellers are going through a divorce and they could really take 305, but we gonna list right here at 325. But all my negotiation strategies I'm giving to my sellers. You're a buyer's agent. My loyalty is to them. It's sort of like when you hire your own attorney, right? Like, do you?
Okay.
You want your attorney to represent you, right?
Okay.
And so buyers were like, hey, we have to go through this person, but they are not giving me, like, they're not protecting me and my interests. And it's more so a game of telephone. So it is still, you're still able to do that today. We call that dual agency, where one person represents both parties. Personally, I'm not a fan of it, because you're not able to really advocate for your client. And that's the biggest thing. Like, if you're a dual agent, you can't use negotiation strategies for both, because you know both sides of the story. So you kind of have to play neutral and just play telephone and let them figure it out. So for me, it makes sense to have your own agent when it comes to buyers and when it comes to sellers, because they can actually fight for you, negotiate for you. They know your hard high and your hard low, right? But that's essentially, long story short, that's the history of how this even came to be. It was a marketing thing at first.
And then somewhere along the line, they agreed to take the $30,000 and just split it down the middle. You get half and they get half.
Well,
no, that's not
half, but half. Yeah, that's a different story. We're not here for that.
Okay. So, but none of this information was ever told to the seller, which brought us here. So I'm kind of fast forwarding it a little bit so we can see what in the world made me talk about this today, baby. I was on Beyonce's internet. I was on Instagram today and I came across this reel right here. So,
and they said that they're doing this to create a lot of transparency. The reason why that they are doing this is they're stating because of the 3 large class action lawsuits that are currently pending.
Sorry. Okay, here we go.
Largest MLS currently has adjusted their side to show that they are allowing a $0 buyer broker commission. Now, this is the largest MLS that covers 42 realtor associations, and they said that they're doing this to create a lot of transparency. The reason why that they are doing this is they're stating because of the 3 large class action lawsuits that are currently pending in court, and we are still waiting to find out where that judgment rules. But the whole premise of it is fighting the fact that on listing agreements, there really shouldn't be, and they're fighting that they should not be giving a commission to the buyer's agent. Now, we still don't know if this is going to go through or not, or what exactly is going to happen, but it seems some of the MLSs are taking into their own hands to start making some adjustments. So what this really means is that the market, in addition to shifting as it already is going to continue to shift, and we're going to see certain agents and brokerages and MLS is really having to fight now for their commission. What are your thoughts on this?
All right. So shout out to her for bringing this to the forefront, because this is something, like I said, we already kind of knew, but when she posted this today, it took a few laps around the internet. And so this affects all parties. This impacts buyers. This impacts sellers. This impacts loan officers a little bit. All right. Not a whole lot. Just a little bit.
We'll see.
We gonna see. Now I'm gonna be totally honest. When I saw this, I called my good girlfriend Keyshawn, and I think she's here in the chat too. And I told her about it, and now some of my other loan officer friends, and we said, "Oh, the day of reckoning is on the way." I think that it's pretty because everybody know we already had ours, right? So I think that it's pretty telling because a lot of the comments that I saw under that lady's post, some comments were, "This lawsuit ain't going nowhere." Well, I strongly disagree with that idea because that's not how America works. America is extremely sensitive when it comes to protecting consumers. If a consumer feels like somebody has wronged them in some capacity, they are willing to upset the apple cart, rearrange everything to make sure that never happens again. So the other thing about what I was, seeing online was that people are like, "Well, what about, who gonna pay? Well, how they gonna? Well, is it gonna be a mass exodus?" So that's what we're gonna get into all of this. Let me get into the chat real quick. Let me catch up on, let's see, Paul. He said it was gonna hurt some seasoned people. She got it. Great question. My poor little first-time home buyers. Yeah, we're gonna talk about it. Who's making room for people to sell or buy homes without agents from public homes? Who's Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah, I agree. Chad, my eyes, they messing up on me. I agree. Yeah, I think earlier me and Lindsay were talking and she said, "Well, I mean, who they not gonna have nobody bring them buyers. Oh, they gonna find them." I saw something today that said it's only I think 72,000 houses available in the whole United States of America that are available to be sold today. So yeah, they're gonna find the houses. We ain't worried about it.
This is where the iBuyers come back.
We can talk about that. Great breakdown on how funds. Hey, Money Bass. He's a content creator as well. He's a bass fisherman. So thank you for stopping by. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, a lot of people don't know where the money goes. So I think that was very important to give context about that. Home buyers don't pay commissions though. Well, today they don't, right? Can I drop the link? I sure can. Hang on one second. Okay. Hello, ladies. Hey, Morgan's a realtor in the Charlotte area as well. Thank you for joining us. All right. So as the lady pointed out, she's like, "Hey, what's going on here? People are upset. Listing agents, sellers are upset. So let's kind of unpack it. Let's start with the sellers. Are they winning or losing in this idea?"
Ooh, that is a loaded question because, so what I said to you earlier, we have a couple of different options how this is going to play out, right? The first option that I mentioned, you said absolutely not. So let me bring everybody in. The first option that I think may or may not happen is that we have to figure out a way to finance it into the loan. Because, okay, let me back up. I've done what's called a limited listing, which means that the listing agent got paid a small portion of money, like very small, to put the listing in the MLS. And I had to deal directly with the seller. And that commission was not what my buyer agreed to. So in my North Carolina, this was South Carolina, buyer agency agreement, I say, "Hey, this is my fee, 2.5%. Typically, the seller takes care of it and is normally listed. But in the event that we come across a house that you just so happen to like and want to write an offer on, if the commission is not 2.5%, you're signing and agreeing here that you're okay with making up the difference." He said, "Okay." I said, "Okay." We found a house. I think the commission on that was 2.25%. My fee that he agreed to was 2.5%. This is the one time that I've ever had to do it and somebody actually paid it. So he brought the difference. So bringing the difference is going to be option number one. Now, it was on his loan disclosure.
No, wait, hold on. Let's go. Just the sellers. Just are the sellers. What are they wins and losses in this? Because we get into the buyers. What's the sellers' wins and losses in this situation?
The seller, I don't know if there's a win.
It's a win. They saving 3%. I mean, in my opinion, I don't know.
Right. But
I mean,
okay.
I feel like
half of my business is listings, half of my business is buyers. So I can truly see it like both perspectives.
okay.
On the listing side, like, yeah, like you're saving 2.5 or 3%, but part of marketing the property, unfortunately, is saying, hey, this is how much we'll pay your agent for bringing you to this deal, right? So let's say hypothetically we do this and you don't have to pay anything, and as a seller you say, well, I'll pay you your percentage, but I'm not going to pay buyers their percentage, or the buyer's agent their percentage. If I market that as the listing agent and it's public information, and the buyer's agent has had this conversation with their buyer saying, hey, like, I can show you this house because by ethics and by our realtor code of conduct, I have to show you everything, whether I agree with it or not. If you want to see it, I have to say, like, okay. But I also will give you a preference up front, like, hey, I'm going to show you this house. If you want to write an offer, you're going to have to make up the difference. And if I say that to a buyer, especially a buyer who is already struggling to save money, and we know these interest rates are up, if I say, okay, you're going to have to come up with another $12,000, you don't think I want to see that? Like, honestly, like, logically, let's talk about this. Do you really think if I say to my buyer, hey, this house would be great for you, but they're not paying buyer agent commission, so if you like it and you want to write an offer, you're going to have to come up with what was the number that I said to you earlier? Because we were basing our number off of 450, right?
500,000.
You were going to have to bring another
I said 15,000. No, it was $30,000 was the commission total for 500,000 house, and I think you said something like you split half and half, right? 6%.
Let's say no. Let's
no,
do
okay, just kidding.
because that's common. So if we're talking on 450 house, like, oh, buyer, I'm gonna need you to bring in another $11,250 to the closing table to pay my commission, because they're not gonna pay. But I'm willing to work for you because we signed this agency agreement, and you remember the part where you said that you would pay for my services if they said that they wouldn't.
Okay, well, now that happens though. So I know, again, and that you alluded to this a little bit earlier. Some sellers have already decided that they were not going to give any percent. They was like, this your flat fee, you could take it or leave it.
But honestly, Joy, in all of my listings, I've never had a seller to, especially my most recent listings, I've never had a seller to bat their eyelash on the commission. They'd be like, okay, typically all they care about is their net proceeds. So when this whole lawsuit thing came up, I was kind of shocked, because I've never ran into it where sellers are like, oh no, you getting too much.
That's what I want to know. That I wish somebody could tell me, like, who was the person? Like, who was the guy? Right? Like, what happened? What led to, like, what YouTube video did he see in the middle of the night that brought this whole thing on? Because you're absolutely right. Generally speaking, people just gonna do whatever you tell them to do, right? Consumers have to be led. Like, when I go in the store and they're like, what do you want? I'm like, I don't know. Tell me what I want. You work here, right? Like, you kind of got to lead people. You know what I'm saying? Somebody decided somewhere they was going to do some dig. I don't know what it was, but that's what got this whole thing started. But you're absolutely right. Now, if anybody, well, for the people that are in the chat, thank you so much, everybody, for joining. Please make sure that you guys like it. I like the video as you all are coming in. Share it. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Trying to get these numbers up. If you are someone that you're a homeowner, and you didn't know this information before, would you still be willing to pay out a full 6% commission so you could pay the buyer's agent and the seller's agent? If the answer is yes, put a 1, like, yes, I'll pay 6%. I don't care. And then put a 2 if you were, now that you know all of this information, put a 2 if you feel like, no, that's my money. don't steal from me. I'm only going to pay out 3% or still pay the 6% and only make sure it goes to that seller's agent, the agent that you've hired. I mean, I want to know. I want some feedback because I've gotten a lot of feedback from Instagram. But let's talk about it. So again, if you're a homeowner, now that you know all of this information and you want to sell your home, put a 1 if you would still be willing to pay out all that money, and put a 2 if the answer is no. I'm very curious. So okay, so those the sellers, like whatever,
I mean,
right? It might be
the house is probably gonna sit on the market longer. Like, not only do we have higher interest rates, your house is probably gonna be sitting in. Our days on market in Charlotte are, and this is just our average days on market in Charlotte have gone up. So now we're about 32 days.
What was the lowest that we had?
The lowest that we had was about 18.
Okay.
And that was July of last year. So pretty much a year ago.
Okay. All right. But that's still not standard though. Like, it's supposed to be a lot longer than that, right?
I mean, prior to like
the house,
we call the last couple of years a unicorn. I would say prior to that, it was about 30-ish. It held in 2018. It was flat at about 44 days.
Okay. So would you consider this like a new normal?
I don't know what normal is anymore, to be honest. And
I've come to terms with it. This is where we at. This is it.
And the reason why I say that is because even though we see average days on market creeping back up, me personally, in what I'm experiencing as a listing agent, I'm still having multiple offers. If the house is priced correctly, if it is presented correctly, and the condition is pretty good, my last listing had 7 offers, and we fell out of contract and went back under contract in the same day. So, and this was just not even a whole month ago.
Okay.
Well, so multiple offers are still a thing.
It's still a thing. Oh my God. Okay. Well, you heard it here first. Well, oh no, you didn't. You heard it from me first because I've been saying this. So okay. I have someone that is a witness that's here to testify on my behalf. Y'all, whenever you hear things, if you are a buyer, we're not making these things up. We have data and research to support, which again, I cannot say this enough about what I admire about Lindsee. She is well read and well researched. She knows her stuff. Like, don't the only people I hang around. Like, you gotta be able to talk about some stuff. And so if this is what she's saying, it's not propaganda. It isn't. It is what it is. Let's see. Alex Dixon, the realtor, who also she got a YouTube channel. I don't know if she's still posting stuff, but she has a YouTube channel. Hey, Alex. She said join late but ready to get into this. You guys, I have put the link in the chat. I want to hear y'all's opinion, so y'all don't have to type. I want to hear from you. If I know who you are and your name look like a credible name and not like you like a troll or something, you don't necessarily have to cam up, because I know when I'm watching YouTube, baby, their hair be wrapped, them pajamas be on. You can't come on YouTube like that. That's fine for Instagram. You can't be on the YouTube like that though. So, but I want to hear and engage in a dialogue about this, because this is just the beginning. This is the domino that has fallen. Like, and we're going to get in, we're going to see just how big this bright MLS is. And I'm going to tell y'all what happened when I called him today.
Oh, you called him?
Girl, who you think I am? Don't play with me. Don't play. Listen, honey, somebody getting this degree going to be used today, okay? This journalism degree was getting used.
Oh, shit. Not you called him.
I had questions.
This is a great question.
Who's drawing up the contract? Okay, so hey, Ashley. Ashley says, who is drawing up the contract is my question, because attorneys are not negotiating and running. I mean, I don't know. Sometimes, well, I've seen. No, I don't know. They may have to maybe slide and adjust a little bit what they do. I mean, law is the law, right? Like, if you're a real estate attorney, you're a real estate attorney.
But also, who's showing? Like, who's
Open door. Oh, what is it? Open door. You could get the key and you could go in. What?
Yeah,
you can do that.
Okay, so my
I can go onto Zillow. I can find 19 houses because you know if you want to see them all.
You can, but also my experience is what we're missing here. Like the way that I do my show and post,
I can YouTube it.
The vid.
I can YouTube it. YouTube University, baby. I can learn anything. I could build a house if I had to. Am I wrong?
Would it be leaning to the side, and how many screws and nails would be missing?
Well, I mean, but it would be built.
I don't know if I want to sleep in that. But I mean, again, yes, you can look at the house yourself, but who would even know like a home inspector? Do you know which home inspectors are even credible? Just because
the internet, Google, Facebook groups.
Okay.
I'm saying,
you're not wrong, but also
Yelp is a thing. I mean,
Yelp and Google are things, but everybody has bad reviews, and I would want to know. So you're going to spend 3 weeks researching home inspectors to use?
Sure, they might. I don't know. Don't get me started lying. I'm just saying. I'm playing devil's advocate. I'm gonna flip flop a few times.
This is where you're hiring me because of my experience and because I think the average realtor in 2023 has only sold 4 houses by this time period this year, and I've sold more. So like you're hiring me for my experience. You're not hiring me because I'm a realtor.
So who's gonna draw up the contract? If I'm like, okay, I can make a go of this on my own. Who? Because I mean, you could go on the internet, you could download a contract. It's public. You can find one. You can get one. It doesn't cost money to get one.
Our contracts that we use are drawn up by the North Carolina Bar Association in conjunction with the Realtor Association. So
okay, can I not use LegalZoom?
So you can hire an attorney to do this.
Okay,
but is an attorney really gonna get into the weeds of running comps, saying, "Hey, I think this is a good price"? Typically, when you get an attorney, you've already worked it out with the seller. Like the buyer and the seller have already come to terms, and they just need this to be legally drawn up.
Okay.
But the thing when you're working with sellers, they tend to be very emotionally attached to their house. That's another reason I said.
That's why I gave my house. You seen, I said 450, and I was like, nope, let's do 500, right? Because that's exactly what happens. Yes.
Remember, I just posted this on Instagram from this weekend showings where I had another limited listing that I had to show, and these were 2 townhouses that were built by a builder that I don't like, and these townhouses were from 2020 or 2021. This person originally listed this townhouse at $350. I know good and well she ain't even paid $250. And so she lowered the price to $325. And I'm sitting here trying to negotiate because my buyers actually do want this townhouse. Well, another townhouse in the back of the neighborhood came available today. And that thing was like $290. You really think I'm about to go back and forth with you about $325 when the same exact townhouse just went up for $290?
Yeah, they're a little delusional. I agree. Hold on, let's see what.
But an attorney ain't getting into that.
I don't know. I'm not an attorney, but everything that you just said, they gonna come up with some AI. Okay, so I mean, you gotta fold it all in here. It's not like we only just reading these articles and seeing these things. This is
AI emotions and logic, though.
Huh?
Can you AI emotions and logic?
No, that's AI them comps you was talking about.
You're not wrong. I don't disagree.
I mean, I'm just saying.
But the emotional piece
advocate,
of reining in your clients,
huh?
The emotional piece of reining in your client.
You know these people crazy. Can't nobody rein them in. Some of these people need therapists, but that's another topic for another day. We might have to touch on that. Hold on, real quick. I have to interrupt everything for just a moment. I gotta interrupt everything. Give me 1 second. I do apologize. I did have someone. I don't know why I can't pull it up right now. I'm tripping. I'm the problem. I don't know how Terrell Key, thank you so very much. I really appreciate this. Terrell has sent me a $20 cash app. Thank you so much, Terrell. I appreciate you watching, and I appreciate the $20 even more. I can eat tomorrow because times is hard. Thank you so much. I appreciate you watching. Let's see. All right. I apologize. I had to give him his flowers, his shout out. He is also a content creator. I think I mentioned earlier that he is an assistant principal. So if y'all ever care about education issues and things like that, KEE to success. That's him. That's what he talks about over there. And some other like little hot topics that are about like current event issues that affect particularly young people, Black boys. Okay, so hold on. Let's get. So Morgan says that a win for the seller is that they will profit more money. Agreed. More money. Agreed. Loss, they'll sit on the market. Not so sure. Sellers gets more money. Everybody say they're gonna get more money. Yeah, okay. All right. So we're all in agreement. The sellers are going to get more money. Y'all, how does this so you think that they'll give up so now they'll have more money to give to buyers to help with their closing costs? Is that what you're saying? If you could clarify. I think that, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe.
But if that's the case, then
If that's the case, what? Go ahead.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but on the closing disclosure, where does agent commission fall in?
Closing costs?
Oh, okay.
What? Where does the agent commission? No, that's not closing costs. No, well, not for the buyer.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like it falls into. It's taken from the seller's proceeds. Like
it is. Yeah. Net. Yeah, you're right. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know. If they're gonna donate a little bit, like a couple thousand, a little 5,000 to save 15, I don't see what's wrong with that.
so
Paul,
I said, so we're gonna give up 5 to save 10 ish, maybe.
If somebody give you $10,000, you ain't gonna take it.
I think people don't understand what our job is. So
we gonna get into it. We gonna talk back. Yeah, we gonna talk about what your job is. Paul, he said that they win the short term, but they're gonna have to buy probably, so they'll lose then.
That was my thought process. I said it earlier.
Something to offset the cost. I'm here for that. Alex says a con is low traffic. If buyers can't pay their agents, exactly. Longer days on the market, no deal. Okay, only small percentage of buyers who can feasibly, pay for it. You're right. He said that's my exact concern, Lindsay. We're further gatekeeping home ownership. I am super not a fan of that, and I want my real estate friends to get paid. Aren't you so sweet, Paul? He's like, he's looking out for everybody, especially buyers using DPA. How will that work? Even if they can, they're not going to want to if they're not used to that. Well, y'all, I'm trying to do something with my phone. I apologize that I keep looking away. All right. Okay. Yeah. So up next, so we got the sellers part covered, right? So now let's talk about the wins and losses of the listing agent. How are they winning and losing? Which we can actually kind of fold in just being a real estate agent altogether. How are they winning and losing in this situation?
Okay. So as a listing agent, this is actually going to put us back to what agents were in the first place, which was everybody comes through the listing agent. So I think we would see an uptick in dual agency where the seller represents both, or the listing agent represents both the seller and the buyer. But then again, that fiduciary thing kind of, you literally, when you're in that situation, you're playing telephone. So you're taking what this person is saying and just repeating it here and then repeating it here. You can't really advise people which is what, again, you're hiring me for my expertise, my experience, and my knowledge. And so I can't really give you that by playing telephone, because you have to remain neutral. You can't pick sides. And so does the listing agent get both sets of commission? Yeah. But are you really working in the best interest of either party? You can't really, when you have to remain neutral. But they get more clients, they get more money. So, I mean, the listing agent really isn't losing. What I'm seeing, or if it goes this route, and we've talked about this, there will be agents who have predicated their whole career, especially on the newer side. Because when I came in, all I did was work with buyers. I was actually kind of scared to work with sellers. That's a different story for a different day. I grew my career into working 50-50. I'm not biased of either one that I like more, but if you, and I have friends, we have mutual friends that really only like to work with buyers. So what happens to their career? And they're great and they've been tenured just as long as I have, but they prefer buyers. They rarely do listings. So if you built your whole career on buyers, you either now have to defend your commission and say, hey, this is my rate and you need to figure out how to pay me. Or like they move over to listings, but they don't really like it. So would they stay?
Okay. So, which begs the question. Now, let's get into what you were mentioning a minute ago. What do y'all do that's worth so much money?
Okay, we've had this discussion before. Are we talking from a buyer
break it out
side, or
what
from the
are we doing? Side? Yes, from the listing. What do listing agents do versus buyers agents? Okay. Because again, the comments I have seen today, my gosh, I'm going to read one, and it was pretty good. But go ahead, please tell us what exactly. No. You got it. What do listing agents do that begs that allows them to get whatever the commissions are that they command, whether it be 3%, 4%, 6%, whatever it is, up to $10 million house? And then what do the buyer's agents do in their job duties that allows them, or maybe I don't know the right word right now, it's escaping me, but what is it that they do that is equivalent to be able to get the same pay?
Okay, so I'm going to leave something off this list, right? Because I don't have the list pulled up.
Okay, so let's start with the listing agents first.
I'm just going off the top of my head. So the pictures that you see, any video, 3D Matterport tours, and measurements are required. Those are all paid for, typically out of the pocket of the listing agent. My photography is not cheap. I'm going to let you know it's north of $550. Right? So we got that. We're going over the forms with you, even though we do have a service now that can kind of go over that. But all the disclosures that you see for the buyers to sign, they have to be done upfront. Sometimes we have to get a house professionally cleaned. We may or may not pay for staging, or at least a staging consultation. Like, we're literally guiding the seller to get their home prepared. And if you're smart, you would know what kind of loan product this house could potentially fall into based upon the age and condition of the house. So we may have to get a handyman if you're not able to pay for the repairs or updates up front. We may fork the cost up front and recoup it at the end, just to make sure that the house is actually ready. It's more than just putting a sign in the yard. Sometimes we have to maintain a line guide, especially if our clients are out of state. So those are just a few of the things. I like to make sure that a title search is, or I've done at least a basic deed search in the county register of deeds to make sure the person that's selling is actually legally supposed to be selling.
Even before the title company and attorney does that?
Yeah, so I look at the deed, and some people, it's a big thing down in Atlanta. We talk about Atlanta all the time. Where people are selling or saying that they're selling a house or land that they're not able to legally sell because their name is technically not on the deed or it hasn't been transferred to them or it's fraud, right? So you want to look up, you have to do a bunch of research before you can even put the house on the market.
Okay. So what do buyer's agents do?
I'm sorry, one of the comments is way down there, but she said she had to buy an entire compressor for an AC unit.
What? I know you lying.
But it's true. If your sellers are in a financial bind where they need to sell their house to get it out of, to get the equity out of the house, sometimes
You use your own money?
You're going to recoup it. Yes.
What if the house don't? So you telling me, Ashley, that you spent, well, what if the house is, what if they change their minds? Because you know they will change their minds. What?
So here's the thing. In North Carolina, once you're under contract, the seller can get sued for a specific performance. So you, as a seller, you can't just say, "Oh, I changed my mind." Once you accept the contract and you're under contract. But sometimes these things do come up when you're under contract and the buyers have done their home inspection and they want repairs. Some people are not able or willing to give up credit in lieu of repair, aka I'm going to give you, some money, but not really give you some money. Anyway.
And then there's some instances where, like if it's a roof situation, right?
I've had a roof situation.
The buyer can't buy it. It won't be able to be sold because the appraiser wouldn't approve the appraisal.
Literally, my last listing was a whole roof situation. We had to delay closing twice because the homeowner's insurance was supposed to cover the roof, but then they took forever, and then checks had to be mailed and stamped, and then all that other stuff. So it's so much. And we haven't even gotten to put the house even on the market, right? Okay, so then we have to set up the showings, and then you have people calling you and fielding you questions. Unless you are a seller that can just sit at home for like a whole week and field phone calls and emails and text messages because people got questions, unless you can like just focus on that and organize everything, because at the end of the day, I'm a therapist, a financial advisor, a project manager, among other things. Like, that's pretty much it. So now we have the showings. The showings are setting up. Everybody's calling you, asking you questions. And then, okay, we're in a multiple offer situation. So now I have to talk you through, organize all the offers and talk you through each one. Which are the best terms? Is this attorney even okay to work with? Like, are you okay with closing in 30 days versus 45 days? A home inspection in this time period? Like,
okay. Well,
right.
So I did ask on Instagram, which again, you guys, if you don't follow me on Instagram, please follow me on IG, the_mortgage_boss. Guys, this is something that a realtor said. She's relatively new, year 2 in the game.
Do I want to know?
Oh, baby, she's in Greensboro. My good sis said, sellers got one hell of a point. I ain't gonna lie. She said that they are paying the person who's trying their best to get them the least money possible on the deal. I said, "Oh, that's a mic drop." I was like, that was good. That was good. Okay. All right then. That makes a lot of sense though, right? It's kind of like,
yeah, no. I mean, I guess I have a different perspective. So for me, whoever is on the other side of the deal, we are both representing our clients, but we're both trying to get the deal to the closing table. Sometimes, like, do I advise my buyers every time to go low? Not every time. If they really like the house and I know there's going to be a multiple offer situation, I've called the listing agent and said, "Hey, my buyers are interested. What kind of terms are your sellers looking for? How many offers? How many showings?" Like, I'm calling most of the time. This is a pet peeve of mine. This is why I do answer the phone. Listing agents don't answer the phone. So
no, they don't. Y'all, why y'all answer the phone? But we ain't gonna talk about that. That's a whole nother story for you. Why y'all answer the phone?
But I'm also texting, like, "Hey, I just showed your house. Like, we just had a few questions. Da 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 da." And so I do tend to get a response that way. If I don't, then I'll send an email. but I need to know these things. And so if my buyer really loves this house, right, but they were wanting to come in low, and I'm letting them know, hey, that there's 4 different other offers, or they're expecting this, that may well change my buyer's mind and they may not come in the lowest. But I could see her point, but that's not really the point every time. That I mean, I have some buyers that are new construction buyers that only want new, and these new construction people, you can get other things thrown in, but they price. I have been able to negotiate some new construction down 10,000, but most of the time you have to just ask them for other things instead of coming down on their price.
I'm gonna tell you now. Whoo, child. I just y'all. Okay, I don't. Let me keep my little opinion. I'm gonna keep playing devil's advocate. Let me keep playing devil's advocate. 1 second. Let's see. Let me catch up. And then we're gonna start talking about y'all. I want to hear about who are the winners and losers, or what are the wins and losses for buyers, period. And then new realtors, and then we're gonna come on down my block and talk about loan officers. So first, let me go through this chat real quick and catch up, because y'all are talking and I love it. Y'all, I got 17 people that's watching. I got 17 people in the chat and I got like 10 likes. Can y'all please like the thing, please? I need the engagement, so then the people see me, and then I can go viral and I can get these hours and these endorsements and these potential buyers. Thank you. All right.
No, for real.
No, for real. Serious. Please like it. All right. So I got that. Where am I at? I'm a little bit, gosh, I'm way too far up. Closing costs. Okay. They went in the short term, offset closing costs. Okay. God, I'm way too far up. Exactly. Paul, longer days on the market. My concern. Okay, DPA. I did see somebody. Let me talk about that real quick. So here's my thing, and this is coming from a serious place. Like I laugh and I joke and all the things. Y'all, the reality of it is somebody is gonna get hurt, and it's always going to be the people at the bottom. It's always going to be the people that have no money to throw at the problem, that's going to have their problems farther compounded. That is a harsh truth. It is the way that America is built. Well, I mean, I'm sure it's one person that's responsible, but that's the reality that we do have to deal with. The thing that I see up and down my Instagram timeline, though, that grinds my gears, that I feel is going to stop this, is a lot of a potential strategy. Hold on, make sure I don't lose you. Okay. A potential strategy to gain home buyers, particularly for newer agents, seems to be, oh, hey, did you know you could buy a house with no money? Hey, what? Hey, you can have a 500 credit score and I can get you this rent to own, and then you could be a homeowner in 12 months. Hey, well, hold on. That's going to really change a lot of the way that people approach home buyers. I'm just going to be honest. And a lot of times, and again, y'all, I swear I'm being very serious. Like I'm not, this is something I've thought about. A lot of times people say things like, oh, I like to help people. No, you don't. You don't like to help people. No one likes to help people, y'all. Like, let's be honest about it. We like to say we like to help people, but as soon as you're not getting a return on your time, because we be having these conversations behind the scenes, like, we are human beings. We get annoyed, we get frustrated, we can't stand them. We like, this crazy person. We're human beings, right? You like to help for as long as you're going to get something out of it in the end. Do you feel good about what you were able to help someone else do? Absolutely. Yes. I don't disagree with that. But at the end of the day, you signed up for a business. And the point of the business is not a hobby, because if it was a hobby, you wouldn't charge anybody anything. You wouldn't take any money. You say, oh, don't worry about it. Just just keep the money. That's just not true. So when we start talking about how does this impact the down payment assistance, one, I think that it's not going to be marketed from realtors as heavily. Two, I think the people that are already at the bottom financially are going to be pushed farther to the bottom in terms of their importance and priority of, hey, I saved up $5,000, and in your head, you like, that's not going to pay my commission. So, or your first question is going to be, so do you have $4,000 or whatever it is, because you're going to be concerned about you, right? And again, like, I'm very serious. This is not a knock on anyone. I'm not saying this I hope nobody's offended, but it's just something that's a part of human psychology. And so there is absolutely a concern, because as we already know, the home prices are through the roof. The interest rates are through the roof. I think today marked the highest interest rate since 2001. So, I don't know where this is going to leave the people that need the most help. It is a concern. It's a fair concern. It is. Yeah. And I think it's going to cause a lot of people to evaluate their business practices.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, back to the jokes. Even if they can, they're not going to want to do that. I agree.
No, because people want to save money.
Nope. So let's see. Paul says, I think that they're talking about making it financeable, which feels gross too. So there's
what I told you. Option number one was.
Where is it? How is it going to be financed? In the loan? That doesn't make sense. If I'm charging you, so if you have to, at a minimum, if you are a first-time home buyer, you're a minimum. Y'all, let's talk. Hang on. Let's talk about it real quick. When people call in, they're like, hey, I'm a first-time home buyer.
What kind of programs do you have?
Immediately, what kind of programs do you have? My response is, I already know. But I'll say, so exactly describe what benefit or feature that you're looking for in the program that you're talking about.
They don't want to use their money.
And they'll say, oh, well, I'm a first-time home buyer, so I don't have to put any money down. That is not correct. That is incorrect. That is erroneous. That is a falsehood. That is a lie. Unless you are a veteran for one of the branches of the armed forces of the United States of America. They get 100% financing. If you would like 100% financing and no mortgage insurance, Uncle Sam wants you. USDA is 100% financing. That's it.
Unless you do one of these credit unions that do like a program that,
or maybe a credit union or something like that. But for the most part, for the vast majority of first-time home buyers in America purchasing a home in 2023, because we are not talking about in 2012 when there was a surplus of homes on the market. We're talking about today. In today's market, we don't want any more buyers. Let's call a thing, okay? We don't have enough houses to service the buyers that we already have.
We will never
encourage
unless
more.
something happens.
Why would they? Well, honestly, why would they encourage more? Because if there's not a line in the sand to say, okay, you need to bring your 3% or whatever it is, which is 3% as the minimum down payment, 3.5% if you are doing FHA, plus closing costs, because you can't assume if they don't want to pay commissions, they don't want to pay closing costs either. But you gotta think about all this. You gotta factor all of that in, y'all. So that is a myth. If you all are watching this, if you are thinking about getting licensed to be a loan officer or thinking about getting licensed to be a realtor, that is not true. You gotta have what we consider skin in the game, which makes you someone that is less likely to default on the loan that the bank gives you or lends to you. I mean, that's where we are, y'all. That had to be said. So I'm sorry. Let's see. You just lost a client $12,000. No, you just lost the struggling folks. And so most of the people, my question was, put a 1 or a 2. 1, yeah, you would be willing to pay. I see a lot of ones.
But these are also our colleagues.
She says, I know, she says, Fargo Luxury Realty says, hopefully this did not come down to Texas. Oh, it's coming down your street.
Texas is a lawsuit.
Yes, if the bottom line still looks good, she would do it. A lot of ones. He's a principal. I mean, assistant principal. He said he would still pay. The online selling platforms brought this on, so they could cut the realtors out. I think that is something is valid about that. I've had that conversation with some other loan officers, so I think you might be onto something with that one. Please hit the like. But did we already talk about? Okay, y'all, please hit. Hey, Kayshana. Let's see. I feel like y'all, I really need glasses. Y'all, 40 don't. Let me tell you, when you turn 40, don't do it. All right. I mean, I feel like just because it's allowed in the MLS doesn't mean it's going to necessarily take. Perhaps not, but the fact that it exists as an option, and now the public is gonna. Now we talk about this kind of early. When this thing really catch fire and really get going, and the CNN and the CNBC and all the regular people hear about it, oh baby, honey, I don't know. Our MLS allows us to put $1
for the buyer agent commission.
Okay, but that also is
just because we can is most.
But that also goes back to the whole transparency thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's just, you don't never tell the person, hey, you can put $0 though. Is that something that's openly advertised, or just something like, if you know, you know?
So no, like, it's on the listing agreement. Like, here's the box, check this. This is what you're agreeing to. Go over it. Do they know that they can put 0? Yes, they do. But do they? I mean, I give you the pros and cons, just like we went over tonight. Here are the cons. Here are the pros.
Okay.
Are you trying to get your house sold?
The percentage of buyers that are going to put in that research is going to be very low. I don't want to deal with an agent. All right, let's see. Hold on, let me go down. Okay, I got to catch up, y'all. Y'all have been talking. I appreciate the engagement. All right, just because an option becomes available doesn't necessarily mean that everyone is going to jump on the bandwagon. Hiring an attorney would be the same as paying commission. Maybe. They're agreeing with you. Not AI comps. Yeah, what's wrong with AI comps?
I can actually see that. I'm not gonna lie. If it's integrated with the MLS, I can actually see that being a thing, and it actually being more spot on. Like, I know that people, for the longest, we were like, "Oh, this estimate is wrong." Once Zillow became a brokerage, they data got better. The numbers ain't all. I will say the numbers don't take into account what's going on locally.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes their numbers are higher, sometimes the numbers are lower. Like, if we're in the uptick, it wasn't catching up. Or like, if we're going down, it is not catching on. But is now, I will say, in the year 2023, is not horribly off like it used to be.
So, Sharika, that's you. Oh, hey, girl. Yeah, we went to junior high school together. I didn't even realize that was her. So she said, and I'm gonna tell her backstory, y'all, real quick. This girl and I, we went to junior high school together. So she's from Charlotte. Her and her husband bought a house, and I think that whole thing was paid off in 2 years, 2.5, 3 years, something like in no time. And so she openly talks about it. Like, it is like the most admirable. I've never seen it done in real time before. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you might see like a reel with somebody, but no, like in real time. Like, they was like, no, we're gonna have one car. Like, we selling everything. We gonna work these jobs. Like, very, very admirable. I've never known somebody to do that. And so she talks a lot about the importance of credit. Getting your credit score up as high as possible. Just all around, like, good things that she has actually put into practice. And people say today practice stuff all the time, but I mean, I put my eyes on this situation, and this ain't somebody who I talk to every day. Like, I hadn't seen her in 30 years, 20 years, however old I am. All right, so she says it's going to be like Facebook Marketplace. Here's the house, and you submit your offer, and the contract is gonna be on auto.
The thing that we're not putting into play is people's emotions. This is emotional on both sides.
Alex laughing. Oh man. Okay, Redfin. Yeah, these companies, I mean, they're trying to streamline services as much as they can. Paul says, I have a new, y'all, I really legit can't see. Like my eye don't, I swear I can read. Okay.
I'm calling
I have new admiration for content creators. Editing video is so hard. Honey, no, who you telling? I was setting up these lights. I unplugged the thing about 4 or 5 times before I went on here and had to like restart. Okay, the closing, that is closing costs. The listing agent about to have to work harder. Oh Lord. Listing agents will lose. All real estate agents are going to pivot and want to be listing agents. Far less deals are going to be available. I think there's some validity to that. In Texas, we call it intermediary. Everybody is going to run to the listing side. I have a deal closing on Friday, and I represent the buyer and the seller. It is a hell of a lot. Yeah, I can imagine. That's a lot to manage. Baby, I just had to buy an entire. We talked about that.
Ashley, we're going to have to talk about that. We ain't talking about that.
Listing agents covering costs up front. They going up for you and what you over there talking about, okay? Agents earn their commissions. Trust me. Agreed, both sides. Okay. So my mom is a buyer's agent primarily, and she has clients that she's been carting around town for 6 months, every weekend at times, trying to find them a house. Give them their money, honey. All right. Sometimes you run around so much with the buyers, when you finally get paid, you really lost money. Oh, okay. They not because they have jobs normally. I don't know
talking about building offers and stuff.
Oh, Ashley. Hey, Ashley. I know you. Ashley Elmore. Hey, girl. Let's see. Oh, y'all talking to each other. Not at all. Want to close. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's the truth. These closing costs going up, or having the addition to have to close the gap for the buyer's agent is going to add to the closing costs that already exist, which is, you got your down payment, your closing costs already. That the payment's high. It's going to weed some people out for sure. The DTI is fighting for his life. It can't say. You said you better not try to finance that.
I'm sorry. That was funny, Morgan. That one was funny. Oh my gosh. Yes, indeed. Y'all are hilarious. Oh my God. No, it's not. It's the truth, y'all. All right. Let's see. Okay, we got some more ones. Am I all caught up? Almost. Don't have to look for a house. Time to look for a house. People are gonna start buying lemons. Okay. Thank you. Please don't forget to like and share. That's right, y'all. Please. Okay, so we all caught up on that. So to kind of round everything out, new realtors, we think what they gonna do? What y'all gonna do? What y'all gonna do? What's the plan? Because people be on them Facebook groups geeked. I just got my license 2 days ago, guys. They be hyped. So now I was excited. Now
they be hyped, y'all, for real. I mean, it's nothing wrong with it. I mean,
I'm excited when you got your license
for this job, like to be a loan officer.
Yeah,
I ain't announced it to the world, but I mean, I get it. But people like. So here's the thing, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I think a lot of that excitement comes with the sex appeal of the job, right? They're like, oh, it's romanticized. So, or are they geeked about potentially making $24,000 a year? Like, is that? I mean, for real. So because we all agree across the board that you're gonna start out with buyers first, right? And so now if that pool, if you're not getting an automatic, oh, I got a buyer, so somebody's gonna pay me, and then it turns into a you can't pay me. So how does that change the dynamic of new realtors? What does that mean for them?
So I got started in the era where realtors weren't really on, like we were just getting on Instagram. It really wasn't a thing. Like it was becoming a thing, but we hadn't figured it out. We didn't have any Atlanta girlies pointing the way, telling us, oh, we need to do these photo shoots. So when I got started, we didn't have that. And I think when I got on Instagram, it was even before Instagram Live. So we couldn't even do the videos just yet. Right. So the way that I had to work to get clients was a little bit different than coming into the social media field as it is today. And you made a valid point though about putting, I do see a lot of new agents. Oh, you can buy a house with a 580 credit score. Can you? Yes. Should you? No. And this, you need to be explaining why. Or down payment assistance. I've heard it been called low hanging fruit. Like if you want your phone to ring, this is what you need to say. I've heard that in a couple of Facebook groups. Like if you looking to get clients fast, this is what you need to say. I don't think you should, because
I mean, let's call a thing, because you know I'm trying to be more Christ-like, and I'm trying to live my life by Micah, was it 8:6:6:8? Say do justice. Listen, I am a social justice advocate. I don't kick people when they're down. And the reality of those type of practices are very predatory. Why are you doing it? But go ahead, finish your story.
I mean, I've had clients to buy a house with a credit score of 620 or lower, but they also had to have 3 months of reserves. So anyway, for newer agents, they're going to have to hit the ground running for listings. Like they're going to have to come in, or they're going to have to know, like have confidence in their scripts for defending their commission. Like they gonna have to come in strong. They can't just build that muscle. Like you gonna have to come out, rip me out the plastic. I've been acting brand new. Like you gotta act like that. Like you don't have time to build that muscle when you're going up against someone like Morgan or Ashley or me who've been doing this for years. I have several, at least 5 different designations. So it's going to be kind of hard to go up against someone with experience who does this day in and day out. I've been doing this. I don't like to throw the tenure around because I don't like when that's used against me, and I can literally, anyway. But they don't have an opportunity unless they are going to be on a team that maybe the listing agent doesn't like doing dual agency. Like I don't like doing dual agency. So if I held an open house, somebody came to my open house and they wanted to buy because they didn't have an agent, I typically refer that out to one of my mentees because I like remaining loyal to my sellers. I've even gone as far as to have another one of my mentees to show a set of buyer clients my listing because I specifically, I don't like it gets messy and I don't want that. So unless they are going to be on a team where the listing agent has the listing and the buyer comes to the listing agent and then the listing agent refers to that person, because at the end of the day, in the back end, they'll get some of the money anyway. Everybody, I mean, it also depends on how new construction plays out. So if new construction says, hey, we're not going to pay your buyer's agent, I don't know what they're going to do.
I mean, look, like we alluded to earlier, some of them, they was out, they hanging on by a thread, okay?
I mean, but, and you have newer agents who are already hanging on by a thread because they came. When I got licensed, I've said this because I followed the stock market. We were due for a market correction when I got licensed. So the fact that we were able to run it up with another 6.5 years after I got licensed, Yeah, like it was already hot in 2017. We did not think it could get any hotter. And it went inferno. So they came in, it did. So they came in at the peak. And a lot of them are like, oh, what do I do now? Because you literally could just say, hey, I'm a realtor, and everybody be like coming towards you. Now you can't do
Mm-hmm.
that. We know how
I
Joy
didn't say it,
feels.
he said it. But okay, so Morgan makes a good point. Y'all, this is all just hypothetical. We're just having a conversation.
We know how it's gonna play out.
However, changes are coming. We
Right.
don't know what the changes are going to be, but the fact that Bright MLS, which is the biggest MLS in the nation, has decided, like, let me go ahead and get on in front of this. To me, it suggests that they have talked about it behind closed doors. They have had some conversations with some attorneys. They know something is coming. So they were like, let's just go ahead and let's try and clean it up a little bit and
So
see
what
what we
did
can
they
do.
say?
So,
I'm
well,
curious.
it just says effectively that they had it as at a penny at first, and they dropped it to $0.00. But to me, that says a lot. That says a whole lot without saying anything. But I'm just in Realtor's business today. I ain't gonna be in y'all business tomorrow, because y'all sometimes y'all be in our business a lot. But I'm in y'all business today. Oh, don't worry. Like I said, we coming on down the loan officer street soon. So don't worry. Like y'all can talk all you want to, but we gonna talk about how loan officers are gonna be impacted by this potential change as well. So ebbs and flows. It's a lot of people. Again, thank you. Exactly. Loan officers gonna be impacted too. I have been seeing that a lot lately. That loan off like being advertised, stuff like, hey, click this link. You could be a 50 state.
Yeah, I've been seeing that. Like, how is that possible? We're not taking your NMLS test.
To be a bank, you can work for a bank. If you work for a bank and it's a national,
all 50 states.
Yeah, like if like a
no,
Bank of America, like a larger bank.
But the way that they're advertising this is giving credit repair, MLM.
Now look, listen now.
But I've been seeing it because I've had several people to DM me. I was confused.
I don't know if I want. I don't know. I don't really want to. I'll save that conversation for a different day. How about it? We're gonna stay on y'all for right now. But I have my own thoughts. If realtors want to be loan officers too, good luck out there.
I don't want your job.
This ain't no easy thing to do. I be over here fighting for my life. Okay, for real.
We both do.
It is. Yeah, it says a lot. Like, is a penny. Okay. What is so important about getting it all the way down to zero? Like, it's something, it's a there. And I guess during the trial, they'll reveal more, but something's going on. Bring on a buyer's market. I mean, I don't know how that's gonna work out either. I don't know. I don't know how that's gonna work out, but
no, I don't know about that. And the reason why, I've had this conversation with you before, is when we look at supply versus demand, right? Your millennials are now your largest demographic, like your largest age group, but they are crushed by consumer loan debt between credit cards. Me and you talk about these expensive car payments all the time, and now we have to start paying our student loans again, right? But then we also have these baby boomers who they should downsize, but they can't move in with their millennial kids because they don't own a house, and more so they need to co-finance and do a multi-generational home, right? So the money or the real estate is really tied up with the boomers. They're not going to nursing homes or assisted living facilities, and they're also not downsizing. So we also have the new construction market, which is they're not buying or building houses fast enough because every time something happens, that interest rate go up. Jerome Powell get on the mic real quick and they slow down and pull back. So your builders will never
He's ruining my life, by the way.
Got you in a chokehold. So these builders are not building as fast as we need them to because they've never caught up from our last recession. So there's so much supply that is needed for us to be able to meet what is considered the average age of the home buyer. So I personally did not know this until the end of last year, beginning of this year, that they trend home buyer, I guess, demand based upon the average household formation of age 33.
Yep.
But our average home buyer report is saying, or the home buyer reports is saying that the average home buyer is now getting older. Like first time home buyer average is like age 36.
Mm-hmm.
So you have like this perfect storm of, will we ever have enough supply to meet the demand? And not only do we have millennials, which are now the biggest age demographic, but we have Gen Z coming right behind us, and they're
not playing.
And I'm not going to say they weren't dumb enough not to go to college, but they out here, they doing their thing.
They doing it. I say it all the time. When them applications come across me, I be like, yes, a 24-year-old. Yeah. And the reason, so here's what I know. I agree with everything that you just said, because Jerome Powell is hiking the interest rates with the expectation that it's going to bring demand, and it's not. And the reality of it is, we all need to lobby our Congress people, because the government is the only way to solve this. They need lower priced homes to be built. That is the solution. I mean, y'all on here for the most part are in the industry, so I don't need to enumerate all of the, the reasons why it's important to have the lower price homes or go into the expenses of what it costs to build a home. But the government is going to have to step in, and they're going to have to do something to create more inventory, because it ain't going to happen any other way. That is it, which is what made me really sad a few weeks ago. A couple weeks ago, I just really looked at everything and I was like, this is it. This is the new normal. I need to get into who don't care about interest rates. Investors, right? So on my side, it's very interest rate driven, because consumers don't really know that, like, can you pay the payment, right? It's interest rate, interest rate, interest rate, interest rate. That's the only thing that they are taught, the only thing that's drilled into them. And, again, I won't express some of my frustrations of behind the wall, but it's difficult. And the conversations that we have, they're difficult conversations. When you are getting into intimate details of people's hopes and dreams and their finances, and the light goes out in their eyes when it's like $432,000, or okay, your payment is gonna be $4,300 like a month. Yeah, well, I thought it was gonna be $2,500.
Or $350,000
conversations to have. And it goes back to something that I said earlier, and I know saying predatory is a pretty aggressive word, but it is, dangling a carrot in front of somebody. Oh, you can buy. Y'all don't get to have them conversations sometimes with people when it's like, no, it's hard. The rates are high, they will go down, but we understand the up and down. We know it's going to impact the number of people that are going to flood the market when the interest rates go down. It's just it's bad all around. And I don't see a way out except with new construction, which, how does all this impact me? So as a loan officer, a lot of loan officers try to court realtors to get referrals or what have you, because people somewhere in there, now there's a history behind this, but somewhere along the lines, people started reaching out to realtors before reaching out to the bank. Long story short, it's gonna flip-flop back. But for now, if people have based their business, they $20 million a year business, like I'm talking about like the OG loan officers, not like newer loan officers. Like this is what they've been doing since the 90s loan officers, right? If these OGs have been in the game and they whining and dining all the realtors and come to my boat and all of the things, and then now they don't have any buyers, what they gonna do? I think that the future is consumer direct, meaning, hey y'all, see y'all on the internet, see y'all on the gram and the TikTok, YouTube. That's why I do things like this. Loan officers can be licensed in multiple states, whereas realtors are generally going to be local to a specific city, maybe 2 cities, maybe a few counties. But you don't typically get to be in North Carolina and California at the same time to be a realtor. So this is going to potentially impact loan officers. One, I can't remember who said it. I think Ashley said realtors might become loan officers or try to do both, which is something that I've seen lately. And the other part of it is, that referral source, right? So then what does that look like? Has that flip-flop? Oh, well, if I got somebody's pre-approved, are you going to tell me that you're not going to sell them a house? You're not going to help them? So I don't know. But again, y'all, all of this is hypothetical. I think it serves us as an industry to have these type of discourses and dialogues just for the purpose of knowing what if, having a plan B, having a plan C, being able to pivot your business. If you see something coming, don't wait for it to like lay down at your doorstep. Like try and figure out, well, what can I do? Where are the opportunities? And figure out what those opportunities are. Not necessarily being a loan officer. You could be an appraiser. What else can they do? It's not a loan officer. You could be an inspector.
I will say that's hard to become. The appraiser part is kind of hard. But a home inspector.
You can build houses. You could be a construction worker.
Project management. I mean, but there's so many different things that you can do.
A lot that's not a loan officer. But hey, I'm just kidding.
A lot of it though, I'll just be like, all right, come into the room, see what it's like. I'm not sure if you're gonna want to stay once you get in.
Well, Morgan, she said we gotta work. She said it's gonna take realtors to work together to protect the industry. Go into listing appointments and vouch for why you feel like they should continue to pay your buyer commission. That's true. I don't think that everybody on this thing is Black. Okay, mostly everybody is. And so with that said, I think there has to be we need to acknowledge the elephant in the room. If this is something that happens, Black realtors, y'all don't be getting listings like that for real. You gotta call a thing, right? It's just, I don't know why. I don't know the ins and outs of it, but statistically it's just not there. So what does that mean? So there are certainly a lot of conversations to be had behind the scenes. Join your trade organizations. Do you show up at the meetings or do you just show up on Instagram? Do you vote or do you just show up on TikTok? It is extremely important. Just like she said, what's she at again? Just like you have got to show up, go to the thing, say, hey, I'm here.
A lot of these people, a lot of my colleagues did not even know that this was a thing.
I'm glad I wasn't going to bring that up. But yes, when I had a conversation with that, because I wanted multiple people's opinions. So one thing about me, if I read something, I want to get multiple opinions. Like, what do you think? Did you know? Or what have you? Because Lindsay was the first person that told me about this. Why? I figured, well, surely other people know. I was a bit surprised to see almost no one had heard of it. But it's
been going on for years.
I mean,
it's been a long while.
You're right. But but hey, y'all, we got band together. We are an industry, loan officers and realtors together. We create the real estate industry. And I know it's fun to hate each other sometimes, but ultimately, I mean, we are all in it together. Like we're not. What do they say about you stronger together? What is it? You together you go far. What is it?
If you want to go fast, go alone.
Go fast, go alone. Yes. Yes. And so collectively as a community, we do. It is important to have these conversations with realtors, had a conversation about loan officers, because we had our day of reckoning already. And I've said that. Loan officers, the lender, we already have. So is it a little bit like, do we giggle just a little bit like, oh, yeah, we did. But it isn't because we want anyone to be out of work. It isn't because we want anyone to be out of money. It isn't because we want any harm to come to anyone's household financially, because this is a career. It's a for real career. This is not a hobby. Again, I know it looks glamorous, but these people, they work hard. Like if you're watching this and you are a home buyer or you are a seller, they work hard. I work alongside these people. Like we have deep conversations. We laugh, we cry together. It's a very emotional experience on both sides. Y'all, the buyers might be getting on our nerves, but we feel that pain equally, because sometimes we do become emotionally invested. And it's like, no, I really want this person to get a house. And it has absolutely nothing to do with us. It happens. But we do. We absolutely, it's very important for us to come together and have these conversations. And I would encourage everyone to continue to have this conversation beyond this live. And like I said, sign up for whatever what is it called? It's Canopy in Charlotte. I don't know what it is in Raleigh or in Greensboro or Asheville, these other areas, but
everybody has their regional realtor association. Every state has their own realtor association. You have the national dues. There is NAR, which is the National Association for Real Estate Brokers, which are typically your African American Realtor Association. And then there is NAR, which is the National Association for Hispanic Real Estate Professionals.
Okay.
Yeah, like the education one, but yeah, all the things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, please. Yes, we need affordable housing. And when I say affordable housing, y'all, I mean like realistic prices. Like I think that's a term that has a particular connotation to it. I think a reasonable person that goes to work every day should be able to have a selection of houses to choose from that don't come with stipulations attached to it. And that's
don't get me started on that, because DPA and these
again, that's why I say when I say affordable housing, I mean reasonably priced homes that people can live in, and it's not
years.
It should be homes.
A silent secondary mortgage.
It shouldn't be, a minimum of $300,000 to start. So that's my opinion. But hey, don't nobody pay me to think. So whatever. We don't care nothing about the interest rates. You are 1,000% right. They don't care. They don't care. They could care less. For the realtors to stay connected and talk with their lenders, they can dangle the carrot, but the job is to educate and have conversations and set the expectation. It's a good and needed conversation. We have to start sticking together. Realistically, the mortgage loan officers need us. It is a mutually beneficial thing. Exactly my point. I wholeheartedly agree. Rightly, it's mutually beneficial. They really work hard. Yeah, absolutely. We become emotionally invested if you're truly passionate about home ownership. 100%. I could not agree anymore with the things that you all have said. Like I said, it's fun to kind of but ultimately, it's our industry overall. From appraisers to underwriters, it is everybody. We are all in this together. So Anybody got any questions or whatever? I think this was a good conversation. I hope you all found it to be beneficial. I think that moving forward, I don't know what's gonna happen, but
I don't know.
there's a change coming. That's all. I just a change is going to happen. Is it something that we gonna absorb on our side? No.
What
I
if
don't
it's
see
just
how. I
purely
don't see how it's possible.
speculation and they settle?
Hmm?
I said, what if it's purely speculation and they settle? I don't know about that one, but I mean, we gonna finance it.
But I think it's something when you can't unring a bell, right? Once a dog whistle has been blown, it's been heard. So we're going from a place of obscurity behind the curtain, no way to know a whole lot of information, to now consumers are inundated with information that don't really pertain to them. That ain't really their business, but then they find out, right? Like everything that we talked about today could have been behind closed doors, but ultimately it impacts them one way or another when it starts to come to, are you gonna write the check to pay this commission if it comes to that?
So Tony brought up an interesting point. So remember the mortgage lender that I worked for?
Mm-hmm.
They did try this, and then I would say within the last couple of months, all their real estate agents off. But the mortgage lender did try this, where they said if you use our in-house real estate agent, I think the fee was like 1%.
So everything has to do with margins and the way that companies are able to make money. And I'm going to call a name here just for the purpose of making it make sense. And I'm talking good or bad about this company. D.R. Horton and DHI, they are connected. They are connected as a company, right? Whereas Wells Fargo is Wells Fargo. They may have financed a development and you might see their name on the sign, but they're not connected to whatever that builder is. And so those are things that's worked out in pricing. And I also think it's important for people to understand, ain't nobody giving away nothing. Somebody's paying for it. It ain't, you feel like you getting a deal, but we could play with stuff behind the scenes.
Manipulate the numbers. But to his point, though, again, this company that I was working for as a processor, these were agents who would help.
Oh, you talking about child? I ain't gonna be here in December. But go ahead with your story.
I mean, at first you don't succeed. When you get up, dust it off, try again. I think somebody else, another company who was probably already off the ground and more successful, may see that and be like, okay, y'all tried to do it. This is not how it worked out for y'all, but let us try it. And essentially, again, they had a whole real estate division where they would help people and buy and sell. They weren't tied to a subdivision or a builder. So it might work in the future, because I mean the mortgage lender or the company was generating leads and passing it off to the agent. Obviously that wasn't successful because they laid all the agents off, but
were they paying a full commission? Or was it more like $750 or $1,000 or something like that? Because I've seen those partnerships before, and it ends up being like a significantly smaller rate.
So the way that they would do it on the listing side is they would just charge 1% if you also use them to buy. But of course, like you said, ain't no free money, so they gonna get their money somehow.
Yeah, no one is going to be working for free, but I mean, like I said, ultimately they will figure something out, because to everybody's point, like I said, there's the way that the system is set up, it is mutually beneficial for every stakeholder that is involved. So we'll see what happens. But I certainly do appreciate you guys sticking with me for the past almost 2 hours.
Girl,
And
this
again,
is our real life phone call, so we really be on the
I
phone.
know time flies. No, time flies. Absolutely. But Lindsee, again, thank you so much. I appreciate your discipline, your expertise, your dedication to continuous learning, which is a very, very, very important asset when it comes to representing a buyer or representing a seller. Being an active participant in your industry, like I said, I can't say it enough. I encourage absolutely everybody to be active in the pursuit of knowledge and behind the scenes and legislation that's on the books or is being presented to your local and your state city government official, whatever is going on. If tax rate going up, raise your hand, say something, because I'm telling you, it's impacting somebody more than it's impacting. All right now. All right, everybody. So on that note, my Mortgage Boss Talk Tuesday will be back on next Tuesday. Tony and I, he is with Your Own Keys. He is my co-host on a podcast that we have together. So I think he said we'll be dropping the episode tomorrow. So all of that information will be linked in the bio, in the description box below. And tell a friend to tell a friend. But y'all, we need each other. We love each other. It's been real. So y'all know where to find me if you need me. I'm happy to help. Till Tuesday, y'all have a good one. Thank you. Bye.